So you finally hit max level on your rogue and you have a bunch of gold saved up. However, you are struggling to get a full set of gear to take into your dungeons. What's going on, guys? My name is Tyicus. So I've had a bunch of people ask me, how are you able to consistently run good gear on your rogue? One of the biggest issues I see with beginners is that they are spending their hard-earned gold buying white, or even worse, gray gear from the vendors. Granted, there are some times where green items will spawn and has the stats that you want, but this is rare and not consistent enough to get a full kit. If this sounds like you, don't worry, I made this exact same mistake when I first started playing Dark and Darker as well. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about how I am able to consistently run the gear that has the stats appropriate to my rogue class every single raid. Alright, so let's get into it. So the first way that many beginners think about obtaining gear is to simply go into dungeons, or worse, taking on the risk of going into a high roller lobby to get your gear. While yes, this is a very possible way to get gear and loot, the main issue with this is that the gear and loot is completely random. You're basically just hoping to get gear that your rogue can use, and hopefully it rolls the right stats for you as well. Like I said, it is a viable way of getting gear. However, let's take a look at a more consistent way to get the gear that you want. So I'm specifically talking about utilizing the trade channel. This is by far the best way to get yourself fully kitted before going into any dungeon. Oftentimes you will find players who are selling really good gear at a steep discount just to get it off of their hands. Now at first the trade channel may seem like a cluster poop of messages spewing out from the chat, but thankfully the devs have added in filters to make everything a lot more organized and easier to make trades. So what I would recommend is that you go to the top of the trade chat and filter each item individually to make things a lot easier to digest. For example, selecting leather caps and rogue cowls only for your helmet slot. You can also do this for any other equipment slot that you are looking to purchase. A little tip for making fast trades is to right-click the item that you want to initiate the trade much faster. Don't go searching for the player's name on the lower right-hand side, because by the time you search for their name, someone else would have already beaten you to the purchase. Also, another tidbit is don't just sit in the rogue trade channel. Go to other classes' channels and look for the gear you want as well. For example, fighters, barbarians, and rangers have gear that rogues can equip as well. There are even times where I've gotten some really good rogue gear in the cleric trade channel. Alright, so this is great, but you are baroque and don't have any money to spend on the trade channel. If you watch my solo rogue guide on my channel, you'll know that I talked about focusing on farming gold while you're leveling up. However, if you are max level and still broke, I would recommend taking the lockpicking perk and just focus on surviving and looting as much as possible. Avoid all PvP and just focus on getting out alive. In my opinion, rogues are the best class when it comes to farming gold and surviving consistently. Being able to go invisible and avoid bad situations is a huge plus when playing the rogue class. Also, make sure you pick up everything and fill your bags every single raid that you go into. There are a lot of times where I would fill my bags with white or even gray items just so that I could vendor the items. Even if it's just worth 100 or so gold, that is 100 or so gold I didn't have before. Also, if you happen to run across green, blue, or epic gear that has stats for other classes, make sure you don't vendor those items. Take it to the trade channel and sell it to other players for much more gold. This is exactly how I am able to maintain 3,000 gold in my bank account at all times. So in terms of which dungeon you should choose to farm gold, both the Goblin Caves and the Forgotten Castle are completely viable for loot runs. I would recommend choosing whichever map you are more familiar with and have a consistent survival rate at. Forgotten Castle has a lot more loot density, more escape portals, and is a much larger map in general. But of course, that comes with more players in the lobby and the possibility of running into squads. The Goblin Caves, however, is a lot smaller, loot density is not as high, there are only 11 players in the lobby, and very few escape portals. This oftentimes leads to PvP situations that are forced upon the players fighting over the escape portal. But like I said, both maps are completely viable, so choose whatever works best for you. Alrighty guys, that's pretty much it for this video. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you found this little guide helpful. Other than that, Thank you for giving me your eyeballs, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.